Have you ever bought something that just broke right away? Or felt totally cheated by some hidden charge on a bill? Yeah, we've all been there. So today, we're going to dive into the essential rights you have as a consumer, and maybe more importantly, how you can actually use them.
And look at this. These aren't just random headlines. They're stories of real people, just like you and me, who got a raw deal in the marketplace and decided to do something about it. From a phone that was designed to fail to a home that was poorly built, this battle for fairness, it's happening every single day. And it all starts with a fundamental imbalance of power.
And this quote right here, it just nails the problem, doesn't it? When it's just you against a huge company or a powerful seller, the scales are, well, they're often tipped way against you. It's a power imbalance that can make you feel pretty helpless.
So, this imbalance creates what we can call the unfair marketplace. It's a space where exploitation can happen in a ton of different ways. Some are super obvious, and some are incredibly sneaky.
I mean, just think about it. It could be a shopkeeper shortchanging you on weight, a seller sneaking mysterious charges onto your bill, or being sold something that's defective or even dangerous. And then, of course, there's false advertising, where companies make these huge claims just to reel you in. These aren't just one-off problems. They're common, unfair trade practices.
And this perfectly captures the two sides of that coin. On one hand, you've got products that seem like they're designed to fail, right? Forcing you to buy a new one. On the other hand, you have this powerful, misleading advertising that can push you into making choices that aren't good for you. It was obvious that something had to change.
And change? It did. But it didn't happen overnight. The solution came from people banding together, realizing that a collective voice is just so much louder than a single one. This is what led to the rise of the consumer movement. In India, this whole thing really picked up steam back in the 1960s. People were just fed up with food shortages and unethical stuff like hoarding. By the 70s, you had organized consumer groups tackling everything from unfair ration shops to overcrowded buses. All this public pressure built up and led to a massive moment in 1986. The government passed the Consumer Protection Act, better known as COPRA.
Now, this is a huge deal. The old way of thinking was basically, hey, buyer beware. It was your job to be careful. The consumer movement completely flipped that on its head. It put the responsibility squarely on the seller to make sure their products and services were actually good and safe.
Okay, so what did this victory actually mean for the average person? It meant you were handed a powerful set of tools. So let's open up this consumer rights toolkit and see exactly what's inside. First up is a big one, the right to safety. This is your fundamental right to be protected from stuff that could literally hurt you. You know, like a pressure cooker with a bad safety valve, or even medicines that have dangerous side effects nobody told you about. This right forces manufacturers to meet strict safety standards before their products even get near you. And this right isn't just about products. Look at the tragic case of Regi Matthew. He was a healthy student who was left crippled for life because of improper anesthesia during a routine surgery. His family fought back, using the right to safety to hold the hospital accountable for medical negligence, and they won. It's a really powerful reminder that this right extends to services too. Next, we have the right to be informed. This might be the right you use most often without even realizing it. I mean, every time you check the price, the ingredients, or the expiration date on a package, you are exercising this right. The law says that manufacturers have to give you this key info so you can make smart choices and, just as important, call them out if a product doesn't live up to its label. And this right goes way beyond the supermarket. Take Amrita, for example. She was an engineering graduate who interviewed for a government job but then heard nothing back. So she used the Right to Information Act, which is kind of like an extension of this principle, to demand answers. And what happened? She not only got an explanation for the delay, she got her appointment letter. It just goes to show how powerful information really is. Our third tool is the right to choose. This one is simple but so powerful. No one can force you to buy something you don't want. So imagine a shop owner telling you that you can only get a tube of toothpaste if you also buy a toothbrush. That's actually illegal. It violates your basic right to choose exactly what you want to spend your money on. Abarami's story is a perfect example. She paid for a 2-year coaching course, but felt the teaching was, well, pretty bad. When the institute refused to refund her for the second year, she took them to court, and the court agreed with her, confirming her right to choose to stop using a service that just wasn't good enough. So, you have these rights. But what happens when they're ignored? This brings us to the most critical part of our toolkit, knowing how to actually get justice.
Because, let's be honest, a right is only as powerful as your ability to enforce it.
This is the right to seek redressal. It's your right to get compensation if you've been harmed by an unfair practice. If you suffer a loss, you have the right to be made whole again. This is the right that gives all the other rights their teeth, you know?
So, how does this work in the real world? Let's follow Prakash's journey. He sent a money order for his daughter's wedding, but it never got there. When the post office just gave him the runaround, he didn't give up. He took action. He filed a case in a consumer commission. He actually represented himself. And guess what? He won. His story is so important because it just demystifies the whole process and proves an ordinary person can absolutely navigate this system.
The system Prakash used is this 3-tier setup that was created under COPRA. As you can see, it's structured to handle different sizes of claims. For most everyday issues, you'd start at the district level. But if a case gets dismissed, you can appeal up to the state and then even to the national level. It's a clear pathway to justice.
All right, we've covered the problems, the movement that fought back, and the tools you have in your corner. So let's bring it all together. What does it really mean to be a well-informed consumer today?
It means knowing that places like this actually exist. These aren't just ideas from a civics book. They are real offices, like this consumer forum, that are set up all over the country specifically to help people like you. Help is out there, and it's accessible.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. The system to protect you is in place. And the rights we've talked about, they're not suggestions. They're legally yours. Just knowing they exist is the first and most critical step to using that power. So, we'll leave you with this question. The next time you see a misleading ad, or buy a product that's just plain broken, or get really terrible service, what will you do? Because knowing your rights is one thing, but exercising them, that's what really changes the world.